Welcome all to Cybersecurity Awareness Fundamental webinar that hosted by Global Knowledge. My name is Hisham Mahmoud. I'm cybersecurity trainer and consultant here at Global Knowledge. Mainly, I have 7 years experience in cybersecurity field, especially in penetration testing field. I'm certified instructor from EC Council. I hold certified ethical hacker, ECSA, ECIH, AJBT, PTP, and web application penetration tester from eLearn Security. I'm also a speaker. I was speaker in Arab Security Conference 2019. Okay, giving a session about 5 phases of hacking, and I was also speaker in one of IEEE conference here in Egypt in Mansoura University. Also a guest of a TV show here in local Egypt channel, okay, talking about cybersecurity crimes and incident and all of this stuff. And yeah, I'm here today to show you what is important of cybersecurity, its goal, its mission, how we're gonna use cybersecurity to defend our business from hackers and their attacks and all of this stuff. So we're gonna see a cybersecurity goals. We're gonna discuss security threats, vulnerability, how we're gonna detect this vulnerability, how the attacker exploits this vulnerability in order to gain access to your system, for example. What's meant by data breach, how to stop data breach, how to have a backup plan, for example, threats type, incident responding, okay, and how to write efficient and incident reporting, for example. And yeah, it's a very good skill nowadays to have an incident plan. If something bad happened, you need to have a good plan to secure your environment and have a business continuity plan, for example. We're gonna see a top security breach. We saw in the couple of months, Twitter hack. We have an Apple. We have many other big company. Okay, and we have many data breach in just 2 days. Okay, expose more than 1 million people critical information on the internet. Yeah, anyone can buy it without with $10, for example. We're going to see security tips, countermeasure, how to detect any suspicious mail, for example, how to detect if this is a such malicious file, how you can protect your asset from these kind of attacks. So yeah, let's start with our cybersecurity goals. And nowadays, cybersecurity is a very, very important and very critical part here. So in this digital world we live, okay, um, the currency now gonna be a data. Okay, in the past we have money. If you want to buy something, you can buy it with the money, for example. But nowadays, if you have data, okay, information like phone number, maybe someone address, someone name, email, and all of this stuff, you can get benefit, okay, by selling these data, for example. And we saw a big company like Facebook and Google and YouTube and all of these big company and great company start to get benefit from this information they collect, okay. And yeah, so this information, we need to protect it. We need to protect this information and protect this data from the malicious hacker. And yeah, hackers always seek to steal this data, modify this data, okay, and steal it and sell it to another competitor, for example. And yeah, cybersecurity here to protect our valuable information, our valuable asset. And we're gonna see that in just a minute, okay? So cybersecurity is very needed nowadays because it's gonna protect our valuable information, our valuable resources from any unauthorized access or attack or theft or data damage. Okay, and by providing these goals, so cybersecurity gonna prevent. Okay, so yeah, we have a plan to prevent any malicious attack on our asset, for example. So if I told you how to prevent any malicious attack, okay, from hacker on your phone, for example, you're gonna tell me, hey, I'm gonna install an anti-malware, for example. I'm gonna use a phone screen lock, for example. And yes, some techniques to prevent any malicious actor to take your phone and start to manipulate the data and maybe gain access to your critical information in your phone. If I told you how to protect your laptop, for example, you're gonna tell me, hey, I'm gonna enable my firewall to stop any, okay, any attack, incoming attack to any port, for example. So yeah, here is the prevention way. Detection, maybe we need to have a detection control. And yeah, it's must. So if you're preventive, okay, control fail here, you still have another way to detect this malicious action. And really, we have a lot of device, okay, that allow us to monitor our network activity, for example, okay. And maybe I have a log. If someone use my phone, I can go to this log text, okay, and see who access my data, who access my image, who manipulates something, and all of this stuff. And we have a recovery, okay. If something bad happened, okay, we can recover our data from backup, for example. And yeah, cybersecurity goals are gonna provide us with prevention, detection, and recovery. Okay, so yeah, it's very important. Okay, nowadays in our business, for example. Okay, yeah, if you have a business and you care about, you need to have a good preventive control, you need to have a good detection control, and you need to have a good recovery control. And here we have vulnerability. And yeah, as I told you, we need to prevent, okay, or we need to detect or recover from a certain type of action. And vulnerability here gonna be a weakness, okay, or any conditions that leave a device open to harm. So, for example, if I told you, hey, you don't have here an anti-malware, for example, okay, or antivirus, so anyone can install any malicious software on your PC, okay, and start to collect valuable information from your asset, or maybe he can control your device and start to make your device act like a zombie, okay, and yeah, he gonna need your device later in order to launch attacks on someone else, okay, and he gonna hide his identity through your device, for example. So we need to be familiar, okay, of these vulnerability, of these weakness, for example. Uh, if you install an application without any guide, for example, or any help, yeah, you can leave your device open to attacks. And yeah, because you install your application using a next finish, and yeah, that's great, and that's a very easy way. But the wrong here, okay, um, this misconfiguration could allow the attacker to launch attack on your device and start to steal data or modify data, okay, if using an operating system, and this operating system don't have a latest patch, for example, or maybe have a software, and this software contain a vulnerability, contain a backdoor, for example, that allow attacker to came and communicate with your device without uh, okay, without so yeah, all of this stuff you need to be familiar. And nowadays hackers, okay, can easily pick a target, okay, in later, okay, when try to pick a target, they start to do a lot of information gathering phases, and maybe it takes months, years, and a lot of time, okay. But nowadays we have a search engine that designed for an hacker. So yeah, you can open for example, here's my browser, and I can open new tab with this great website called Choden. And yeah, I know most of you know this great website. So it is a search engine, okay, that allow you to search any public IP, for example. And you can give it a name, okay, you can give it an IP address, you can give it a host name, you can give it an operating system. Feel free, okay, to type here what you want. So for example, if you pick a target like Sony, okay, you can type Sony here, and you will get all the information that's related to a Sony public infrastructure, for example. And yeah, it's still loading. So we have here this page, and we have many public IPs that belong to a Sony company. We have more than 4,000 IP address, and based on location, based on the top service they used or running, on the organization they also used, operating system, and the product. And yeah, it's very simple to pick a target from the search engine, and you can simply using a cheat sheet to search for specific stuff. So for example, I'm using here a port column, okay, with port 8080 to search for this open port, for example, using a Choden. And yeah, it's very easy. So Choden is like a search engine start to scan all the public IP address, okay, on the internet, and give me a result, okay, in one place. I can choose my target, I can start to attack my target. And in order to attack any one of these here, I need to know if this guy, for example, contain a vulnerability, contain a weakness that allow me to take or gain access to this on IP address. So it's very easy. We have also an exploit DP, okay, and contain all of the latest vulnerability with the exploitation code. So yeah, imagine that if someone know your IP address, okay, and found a remote exploit or remote way to gain access to your system using this vulnerability, yeah, he can get a code from here. So for example, if I know you using a VLC product, I can search in here for VLC. And if you have this certain application, okay, with this service 2.2.8, I can click on this one and I can download this exploitation code and use it, okay, to gain access to your system. But be careful here, we have a types like local and remote, and yeah, that's identify where we can run this exploit. So I can run this exploit on your local machine if I have a physical access, okay, or maybe if I gain access through a vulnerability. So nowadays it's very easy to search for vulnerability in the system, and security researcher develop a lot of codes, a lot of techniques in order to bypass security mechanism in many company, for example. So you need to be familiar with all of these vulnerability and using the right security control to secure your infrastructure. So for example, if we have a bug in operating system, you need to update your operating system, or maybe you can use another operating system, for example. Okay, maybe we have a design flow in a software, maybe using secure password, maybe there is a poor physical security that allow anyone to enter your office, for example, and steal your hardware. And yeah, that's really very bad. So you need to be familiar with all of these vulnerability, okay, and start to mitigate it, okay, using the right security control. And as I told you, here we have a vulnerability, and yeah, it looks like a backdoor. Okay, and great, we have a security control here. We have a security guard that start to monitor, okay, uh, any activity here. Okay, but yeah, we leave this door open that allow anyone to gain access to our infrastructure or our network and start to exploit. Okay, start to gaining access to our systems and maybe start to modify or delete a data, and our asset is going to be our valuable asset, okay, and we need to protect these valuable asset from any kind of attacks, for example. So threats, any event or actions that could potentially cause damage to an asset. So yeah, we need to identify these threats, its impact, its likelihood, and all of this stuff. How many times this threat happened? Okay, what is the impact? Can this guy here can damage all of this area, or maybe he can damage only this area? Maybe I need to put another security control to control this situation. And as a guy who care about my security, I need to be familiar with all of these terms. Okay, so an attack is gonna be a technique used to exploit a vulnerability in application or a physical computer system without the authorization to do so. Okay, and we have a many category. We have a physical security attacks. We have a software-based attack. We have social engineering, and later we're gonna have a look into social engineering, okay, attacks. It's really very fun and it always succeeds, okay? Why? Because the nature of human, they love to help each other, and that's make these attack is very critical, okay, and hard to defend. And we have web application based attack. And yeah, nowadays our life, as I told you, it's very easy. You can make an order through a web application. You can deposit money. You can transfer money from a web application or maybe mobile application. And imagine that if this application or if this service is vulnerable to attacks, so an attacker can do a lot of damage, okay, can steal a lot of money, can make a denial of service, for example, to make his company, if he is a competitor, to win this race. Okay. And yeah, definitely we have a network based attack. Someone inside your network can steal your credential, for example, if you do the right attack. So We came with security control in order to prevent or detect or correct these situations. Okay, so controls here is going to be a countermeasure that you need to put in place to avoid or mitigate or uh, contrast security risk due to threat and attacks. So yeah, we have a preventive control, for example, like a firewall. We have detection control, like an IDS, and yeah, it is a device and a software that you can use it. It is like a monitor device that allow you to inspect all the traffic that pass through, for example, and detect if it is a harmful traffic or not. Okay, based on a signature, for example. And we have a correction control, like a backup, for example. So yeah, here is again the types of control, the preventives, the detection, and the correction. Our security process, okay, it's gonna be in a life cycle. And yeah, it's not a one process we can do and yeah, we can leave it. No, it is a continuous process that we can use it in order to secure our environment. So for example, we're gonna identify a security control. Okay, yeah, I know someone gonna attack me through these vulnerabilities, so I'm gonna try to pick a device that allow me to prevent, okay, this kind of exploitation here, like an IPS. Yeah, it is similar to IDS, okay, we mentioned before, but this device, okay, can take an action here, okay, based on a signature, for example. Okay, so if we picked the right security control, we start to implement these security control in our environment, okay, and then we're gonna monitor, okay, see if the security control work, okay, very well, okay, without any error, and we can rely on the security control in the future, for example. So yeah, our security management process is gonna be a life cycle. Okay, it never end. We're gonna identify security control, implement our security control, and keep monitoring this control behave well or not. And also cybersecurity help us to achieve these three aspects. Okay, achieve confidentiality, achieve integrity, and achieve availability. But let's see first what's meant by these three aspects here. So confidentiality mean here, we need to make this data is confidential. We don't need anyone to have an access, okay, especially unauthorized people to gain access to this confidential data. Okay, so yeah, we mark this data as a confidentiality, and we start to put our security control here. We're gonna use encryption, for example, and we're gonna use an access control list, allow certain people to access this data and modify this data. And yeah, we need to make this data have an integrity. For example, we don't want anyone to modify this data or delete something, okay? So by increasing our confidentiality, we're gonna increasing our data integrity because the people who have the authorization here, okay, can modify this data, okay? And our cybersecurity goals also help us to achieve the availability. Yeah, if you're working in a company or you have your own business, you need to have availability plan, okay? Yeah, you need everyone to use your website, you use the application, okay, anytime, for example, okay? So you need to have this application up and running 24/7, for example. And yeah, cybersecurity allow you to achieve this aspect here, availability here, okay? But be careful. We have a rule here in a cybersecurity triangle here, okay? We can't um, achieve all of these area, okay, together. So for example, if you increase the confidentiality on data, okay, yeah, definitely gonna increase your data integrity, but the availability here, we're gonna affect this area here. But if we make this data available for anyone, okay, it's gonna not be a confidential, okay, and anyone can modify it. So yeah, be careful. We can't, yeah, make sure we can't, okay, balance these three areas. It's really very hard, okay? If you have a top secret, for example, okay, you can mark this secret, okay, to be secret or top secret, and start to use your confidentiality here, okay, using encryption, using access control lists, using your security controls and firewalls and all of this stuff. Okay, if you have a public data, yeah, you can place it in a public server, for example, that allow anyone to have an access. So yeah, so be careful when you design any system, okay, in your company later. Okay, you need to be familiar with all of these three aspects, and yeah, it's very hard to achieve these three together. And we have extended to this security triangle. We have a non-repetition and we have accountability. Okay, and non-repetition here. So yeah, if someone make an action, okay, he can't deny. Okay, so yeah, now we have a system that allow us to identify a certain guy, okay, who did this action, for example, and we can do later accountability, for example. Okay, so yeah, determine who to hold responsible for a particular activity or event. Okay, so yeah, this is a cybersecurity goal that allow us to help and protect our business from a threat. Even okay, your personal device, you need to be aware of these aspects. You need to have the right security controls. You need to install the right software from a trusted publisher, and you will be safe. We have identification process, and we have authentication, and we have authorization. And let me go with this process here. So if I told you, okay, to open this website and start to transfer, money from your account to my account, for example. So first you need to give this website identification. Okay, for example, it's gonna be here your username or your email address. So yeah, the website gonna ask you, hey, could you identify yourself? Could you show me your identity, your username? Okay, and if you write your username and your username is correct, they're gonna ask you for authentication. Okay, the password. So if you allow to to communicate with this web application, you need to provide your identification ID and your authentication password. And we have a many authentication factor that anyone can use. For example, we have something you are, like your fingerprint, your handprint, your retinal. For example, we have something you have like your key or your ID card. We have something like your password or your PIN. Somewhere you are or not, okay, like an IP address or a GPS location, something you do like a pattern, for example. So yeah, this is a authentication factor. You can use any one of these, or for example, you can use a fingerprint with a password. And here we have achieved this two-factor authentication. Okay, yeah, we use a two-factor in order to prove our authentication here, like using our fingerprint and using our password, for example. Okay, and if we provide the right identity, okay, and the right password, we can get our authorization. And our authorization here gonna be our privilege, okay, our permission, what we are allowed to do on this system, for example. Okay, so yeah, this is a normal process. Okay, when you start to log in on a website, okay, he's gonna ask you for identification, your username, he's gonna ask you for authentication, your password, and he's gonna give you your authorization, your privilege. Okay, so let's start with a new part. It's gonna be a data breach. And as I told you, from 1 month ago, we saw a lot of data breach. We saw a Twitter, okay, hack. Let me show you a great website you can go and start reading a news from. So we have the Hacker News. It is a very popular website, and you can use this website to see the latest security attacks or data breach. And we have here data breach tab. Okay, so yeah, we have a lot of Android spyware here that allow their author to steal data from your device, for example. Okay, we have Russian who hacked the LinkedIn, Dropbox. Okay, get 7 years in prison. Uh, we have Joomla, we have British Airline, we have Digital Ocean, we have IBM. So a lot of big company. Yeah, they develop a good security plan. They have experienced people in cybersecurity, but yeah, they attacked by an attacker. Yeah, So it is like a game, okay? um, People have knowledge, okay, and other people have a higher knowledge. So in cybersecurity world in general, okay, we have a lake of knowledge and we have a lake of time, okay. So yeah, there is no one can understand everything or master everything, and we have a lake of time. We are a human, right? We have a time for our uh, business, for example, for our work, for our family. Okay, so yeah, we can give all of our time to for security, for example. So yeah, uh, so data breach happened, and if the data breach, if your company face the data breach, you need to be familiar, okay, with the disaster recovery plans, the business continuity plan, how to handle this incident and all of this stuff, okay. So here is stuff, okay, and like how to do data breach happen. So for example, if we have an accident, okay, from our employers, okay, yeah, we saw that in Amazon before, okay, maybe we have a malicious insider, maybe we lost or stolen device, and yeah, that's happened a lot, especially when we have a traveler, okay, that use his laptop, okay, and his laptop contain a sensitive document, for example, and yeah, someone can steal his laptop, for example, and yeah, we need to protect this asset, okay. For example, we need to train our employee the latest technology and all of this stuff. We need to monitor our network and see if there is a malicious insider. We need to encrypt our data, and we need to use another laptop if we travel outside our country, for example. Okay, maybe we have a malicious outside criminal, and yeah, we need to be familiar with the latest techniques and tactics and all of this stuff. And yeah, I need to be familiar with the latest vulnerabilities, the 0 days. And nowadays, we saw Microsoft start to buy a lot of 0 days and start to patch them in their operating system. And yeah, that's very, very a great move from Microsoft. We saw our ZDI, okay, or 0 Day Initiative, that put by Trend Micro later. And yeah, they try to make a competition like Pwn to Own and help hackers to come and start to hack this device and find a new critical vulnerability in order to update and release a virtual patching until the vendor release his actual patch. So yeah, I need to be familiar with all of these entrants, okay, and start to prevent any attack, okay, that came from any of these area, for example. And yeah, we have malicious methods used to breach data like criminal hacking, human error, social engineering, phishing, malware, and unauthorized use. Okay. So how to avoid being a data breach victim? So yeah, you need to patch your systems, you need to update your software, you need to install a software from a trusted source, for example. You need to use a good encryption, okay, to encrypt your data, okay, especially your sensitive data. You need to upgrade your hardware and your software, especially the IoT devices. And yeah, we saw a lot of IoT device nowadays in the market and in business, but yeah, they came with vulnerability, and yeah, we need to upgrade, okay, this firmware and upgrade this device, for example. And sometimes it's going to be a very, very hard process because these company who build and develop this IoT device, they don't release a patch very quick. So yeah, you need to be familiar and have quick response when you face something like that. We have bring your own device, okay. So nowadays, people can use their mobile phone and their laptops in a company, for example. And yeah, maybe this mobile phone and maybe their personal laptops contain sensitive information. So we need to have a policy that describe the data on this device, what is the mechanisms they use in order to protect these data, for example. Um, yeah, we need to apply strong credential, okay, strong password. We need to apply multi-factor authentication, and yeah, this one is going to be a very, very important security awareness and training for the employee. Okay, yeah. Every 15 minutes, they came with more than 1,000 new vulnerabilities. So you need to be familiar with all of these attacks, especially if you are a one who working in a cybersecurity. Okay, if you are a normal user, you need to be familiar with the basics. Like, yeah, don't click on any link, don't download any software from untrusted source. Okay, if you see something wrong, you need to communicate with your manager. And yeah, you need to be you need to act quickly. Okay, if you see something bad uh, happened. So let's begin with cybersecurity threats. So cybersecurity threats, we have a malware. Okay, and malware, it's two words. Okay, we have malicious and we have software. Okay, and by combining these two words together, we came with a malware. Yeah, it is a malicious software that designed by an hackers. Okay, in order to gain access to your system or maybe steal a confidential data from your system. And yeah, nowadays it's very easy to create your malicious software, or simply you can buy a malicious software from an online website. Okay, and yeah, he's gonna give you a command and control systems that allow you to communicate with your malicious software and all of this stuff. And yeah, simply if you Google RAT, okay, remote access Trojan, or let's type remote access Trojan. Okay, and I'm gonna type a GitHub, for example, and we have a plenty of them that allow you to make a malicious software and start to send this software to your victim, for example. And the malware company, the anti-malware company, like Trend Micro, Symantec, Asset, Kaspersky, and all of these great company start to download these tools and start to pick this malware signature and place this malware signature in these anti-malware, for example. And yeah, it's a very tough process. So the malware researcher nowadays work with four techniques. And we have a static analysis, we have dynamic analysis, we have memory analysis, and we have reverse engineering. And basically, we're gonna go with two processes here. Okay, so we have a static analysis and we have a dynamic analysis. And static analysis, we can simply see if this malicious, if this file, for example, a malicious file or not based on a pattern, for example, based on a string or based on PE headers. Okay, extension, for example, if you have someone send you a PDF telling, hey, that's my CV here, and it contain an exe extension. Okay, yeah, it's not an PDF anymore. It is a malicious software acting like an PDF. So yeah, you need to be familiar with all of these techniques. So basically, the anti-malware nowadays use these three processes. They use a static analysis, they're using a dynamic analysis, okay, start to see the behavior of the software and try to determine if it is malicious or not. And they start to make a memory analysis. And yeah, sometimes it makes anti-malware, um, you know, uh, very slow your computer, for example, because it start to do analysis, okay, from your RAM and all of this stuff. And yeah, it's very good techniques, but some people prefer usability and speed over than security and all of this stuff. So yeah, nowadays it's very easy to create a malicious software. The people, if they don't have any experience, okay, and they want to get revenge, yeah, they can type on Google remote access Trojan and start to download the software and start to, compile it and send it to their victim. And we have a plenty of tutorials nowadays available on YouTube, okay, for free, for example. So yeah, malicious software gonna be very dangerous, and you need to be familiar with the techniques the hacker used in order to spread these malicious software. Yeah, sometimes they use an email address, maybe they use a torrent, okay, peer-to-peer network. They can embed inside a video, an audio, or maybe an image. Okay, and yeah, you kind of see, yeah, it is a cool image of PlayStation, for example, and you can open this photo, but it is not a photo, it is an exe that contain a two URL. You're gonna pick gonna download the URL from the internet, contains the image, and he's gonna display this image here on the screen. Okay, and he's gonna download another URL contains the malicious software and start to execute this software in the background without So yeah, you need to be familiar with all the spread techniques. Okay, especially if you have a mail contain attachment, don't open this attachment. Okay, yeah, 90% is gonna be a malicious software. Okay, if someone sends you his CV, okay, you need to be familiar with these techniques. Peer-to-peer network, torrent, any software from untrusted source, you need to be familiar with all of these techniques that used by hackers. So how to prevent against malware? Yeah, simply you need to install an anti-malware. Yeah, it's gonna protect you with 40 percentage. I know that, but you need to be familiar, okay, with the process. So if you have a file and uh, you think this file is suspicious, okay, you can use a website called a virus total, for example. And yeah, this website owned by Google. And if you have a file and you think this file is very suspicious, you can upload this file here. Okay, if you have a URL and you think this URL contain a malicious JavaScript code, you can paste it here. If you have an hash, okay, or IP address, you can place this IP address or the hash of the file here, okay, and see if it contain a malicious software or not. So yeah, it's very simple. You can choose your file, and yeah, you're gonna use more than 70 anti-malware scan these file. But yeah, I told you you're gonna have a 40 percentage, right? So why I'm gonna use virus total? Yeah, virus total gonna share the software with these vendors, okay, and they start to do their static analysis, their dynamic analysis, reverse engineering, and all of these great stuff. And if they found this file is malicious, okay, they're gonna upload uh, this result on this website. So later, when you came to this website and start to use the hash or use a file again, you're gonna see the file uh, picked as a suspicious file. Yeah, it's very simple website and it's free. Okay, you can use it. So I recommend it. If you have a Windows and you are a normal user, you can go with this great tool. It's called a P Studio, and PU Studio allow you to make a full static analysis on the file. So it's gonna give you a result from virus total. It's gonna read the headers of the file, give you the right extension, what is the DLL he is importing, okay, the function he calls, the strings that this files contain. Maybe we have an IP address, maybe we have a domain, maybe we have a command and control function. Uh, so yeah, it's a very great tool and free. Okay, you can simply use this get here, okay, and you can download it. Okay, and yeah, free, it's known for commercial use. So yeah, if you're gonna use a commercial, you can go with this pro one. So it's very simple to detect, okay, a malicious software nowadays. So yeah, you need to be familiar with malicious software behavior, okay, like adware, for example, you're gonna display an ads like scareware, you're gonna display, hey, your computer been hacked, so you need to install this software and all of this stuff. Okay, so yeah, don't use an open Wi-Fi because someone can inject a malicious code in the HTTP response packet when it came from the destination, for example. Okay, and but yeah, don't worry, it will execute in one tab. So if you close this tab, okay, and we have here a malicious software or malicious JavaScript code running on this page, and we close this tab here, yeah, we are safe. Okay, so think before you click, and it is very important rule. You need to be familiar with these tips here. So ransomware, yeah, it's two words. It's gonna be ransom and software, and this software it is a type of a malware. Okay, but this guy here start to scans the network for a vulnerable device. Okay, and when he got a vulnerable device, he start to exploit this vulnerability, gaining access to the system, and start using his second part gonna be a crypto or cryptor. Okay, so this part gonna encrypt, okay, your data and ask you for a ransom, for example. And if you pay a ransom, yeah, nothing happened. Okay, so ransomware is a very, very deadly software nowadays. If someone hit by ransomware, it's gonna be a really nightmare. So yeah, as I told you how ransomware works here. So use the download a file containing ransom. Okay, for example, hey, you have an free games. You can download these free games from this link, and when you download it, you can double click, boom, someone hacked your device and he encrypted all your data. And in order to stop this ransomware, it's really, really hard to stop. Yeah, we need to have a proactive, and we need to have scanning, monitoring, and all of this stuff, and we need to give our employers trainings. But let me show you something here. So nowadays we have ransomware become an open source project. So imagine that a plenty of open source projects that available on the internet that anyone can download and start to modify it. And it's very hard to detect or track really because it's open source and can anyone take the source code and start to modify it. And we simply here we have this ransomware called the Crypt Sky, and yeah, it is an open source on GitHub. And we have here its code and function, and we have a discover function here. So this function allows ransomware to search for this extension, okay? And if this extension available on the victim device, he's gonna start his second part and start to encrypt all of these extension, asking you to pay a ransom. Okay, and if you pay the ransom, nothing happened. If you don't pay the ransom, also nothing happened. Okay, you already lost your data. And yeah, a lot of people use this technique to get a ransom for victims. Okay, and we saw WannaCry, and let's show you a very dangerous story here. So, so imagine what could happen by ransomware. So we have here a patient die after ransom attack, okay, in German hospital, okay, and yeah, ransom is a very, very deadly, really. So it's very hard to detect, especially if we have a good developer develop this software, for example, and if we have an open source project that anyone can edit and start to spread this ransom. So yeah, you need to be familiar with any software. When you download the software from the market, you need to see its hash and start to compare this hash value, okay, with the original hash on the software vendor, okay, from his website, for example. And if they match, okay, yeah, you can install it. But if you have one bit change, okay, yeah, maybe something bad happened here. So yeah, you need to be familiar with all of these process. And uh, let's start a social engineering part, and it's really very fun part here. So social engineering gonna be any activity where the goal is to use a deception and trick, okay, to convince, okay, people to provide sensitive data or to violate security guidelines. So yeah, people love to help each other. So if you are lost in any area, for example, and you ask someone, hey, I want to go my home, for example, yeah, he gonna help you, and maybe he gonna show you the right way. And yeah, if you need the money, he can give you money. So yeah, people love to help each other. So imagine that if someone start to build a relationship between a victim, Okay, and when we build a relationship, okay, and it becomes a strong relationship, we can easily destroy it. Okay, and yeah, that's a very uh, dangerous, and that's a sad part of the social engineering here. So social engineering always okay work on any company, and we saw that on Twitter, for example. So you need to be familiar with social engineering tricks, okay, and tips. So people start to sending you a mail pretending, hey, I'm your friend, I need your help, so please open this link and download my photo and start to edit something on my photo to looks nice, for example. But yeah, it maybe contain a malicious software that gives the attacker an access to your device. So why make what makes social engineering very effective? Okay, so for example, if you're pretending you have an authority, okay, you're pretending you are a manager or IT administrator asking for information from your employee. Okay, maybe you're gonna try to threat someone job, for example. Maybe try to taking advantage of a human tendency to be a part of a group, okay, offering something rare, maybe impersonate someone identity. And we saw that happen a lot nowadays on WhatsApp, okay, or urgency. Okay, so yeah, I send you an email, okay, because I lost my Facebook account, so please could you provide me your PIN code, for example. And yeah, he can access your account. So you need to be familiar with all of these tricks. Okay, if someone call you, hey, I'm your manager, I'm your boss, I'm your IT administrator. Okay, you need to ask him, hey, could you show me your identity, for example, or could you give me an official mail? But sometimes if the attacker gain access to your network, okay, or hacked these IT administrator account, it's very hard to tell. And that's why social engineering is a very effective attack. We don't have any uh, any way or any technique help us as a security professional to detect, okay, these kind of attacks. And yeah, it's really impossible to detect these kind of attack nowadays. So impersonation, one of these kind of attack, you start to impersonate someone else's identity, okay, and yeah, you can calling people, asking them, hey, I'm your IT administrator and I need your password and all of these stuff. We have a phishing mail, and yeah, we saw that a lot really. Okay, maybe you have a mail from your bank asking you, hey, could you please open this link and start to update your username and password because we saw normal activity on your account. So yeah, we need to make sure you are the right person. So please verify your account by visiting this link and start to changing your username and password. And yeah, a lot of people fall on this attack. So phishing, we have a many kind of phishing. We have a spear phishing, yeah, and from its name, we're gonna use a spear. Okay, so if you want to capture one fish, okay, you're gonna use a spear. So yeah, spear, we're gonna have a one target, for example, and we know this target very well. We know his name, okay, where he live, his birth date, and all of his stuff. And yeah, we can easily obtain it from social media. Okay, nowadays people love to post a lot of stuff on social media, so we can obtain this sensitive information from a social media account, and we can sending him an email pretending we are one from his friend, for example, seeking for job opportunity, and we sending our CV. Okay, maybe we pretending we are a bank. Okay, we have wheeling here, and we focused on a C level. Okay, we target here a chief information officer, chief financial officer, executive officer, and all of these C levels people because they have a high authority and they have a higher privilege. So if someone uh, hacked using this technique, okay, that's great. You will have a great power to launch your attack. We also have a farming, and here we're gonna hack a website, and if anyone visits this website, we're gonna redirect him to a malicious website, okay, similar to this website, for example, or maybe another website to steal his credential. Okay, We have a phishing or voice phishing, and yeah, that's type of phishing, but happened okay through a phone, for example. Hey, you call someone. Hey, I'm Hisham from an IT help desk, and I need to confirm your password. So please, if you if your password if your password is correct, okay, just give me confirmation. If your password is not correct, please confirm me with your new password. Yeah, that's a kind of a phishing here. And we have a smishing, and yeah, it's an SMS text message. Yeah, someone send you an SMS text message, okay, pretending he's one of your friend and asking you to sending him data, for example. So yeah, we saw a lot of attacks and we saw a lot of techniques, and we have here in hacking, okay, and yeah, hacking is a very very big topic, okay, but we're gonna go very fast here. So what is hacking? So hacking gonna refer to exploiting a system vulnerability, okay, and start to gain access to this system and start to pull the data, and maybe you can make this device as a zombie and start to launch attack from this zombie later. So yeah, that's the meaning of hacking. So hacking refers to exploiting system, and yeah, we need to have a vulnerability. We need to have a weakness that allow us as an attacker to gain access to this system, for example. And the hacker, this guy, okay, have an excellent computer skill with ability to create and explore into computer software and hardware. Yeah, this guy is a very very exciting, okay, about technology. He need to learn everything new. He need to perform all the actions. He need to see how the things working. And yeah, so yeah, that's the meaning of hacker. But nowadays hackers start to exploit a vulnerability in someone systems and gaining an access, okay, and start to steal this data, and maybe he can sell this data for competitors, for example, or on a black market. Okay, and we have types of hackers. So, for example, we have a black hat, white hat, gray hat, suicide hackers, script kiddie, cyber terrorist, state sponsor, and an hacktivist. So, black hat hackers is an individual, okay, have a good skills in hacking, okay, but he use his power in a wrong way, okay, or in evil way, for example. And we have a white hat hackers. Yeah, it's similar to black. He have a good skills, have a good knowledge, but he use his power in good, for example. We also have a gray hat, and sometimes people call it a purple, okay, but yeah, here's an individual who work both offensively and defensively. So yeah, he know how to attack and how to defend. We have suicide hackers, and yeah, this guy don't fear anyone. So yeah, he can hack any website and put his name. So yeah, this website is hacked by Hisham, blah 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 blah. Here's my email, here's my phone number. So if you want me to hack another website, just call me. Yeah, that's a suicide hackers. He don't fear okay to send to jail, for example. We have script kiddie, and yeah, be careful here. This guy is the most dangerous one here. Yeah, script kiddie. Why script kiddie? Because he don't have uh, the full information, and he don't know he don't not familiar with the hacking process. And if he launch any attack, for example, he can do a lot of damage. Why? Because he don't know what happened next. Okay, yeah, he can search YouTube, okay, for example, hey, how to hack a Facebook account, and yeah, he have a tutorial and start to follow tutorial, and boom, yeah, he get caught. Yeah, that's the mean of skepticity. Yeah, this guy is very very dangerous. Okay, yeah, he don't have a knowledge, but his action can cause a lot of damage. We have a cyber terrorist. Yeah, these hackers, okay, like an ISIS hackers, for example. We have state sponsor hackers or nations hackers. These hackers are owned and used by the country nowadays. Okay, and we have an activist like anonymous people who promote a political agenda, okay, by hacking, for example. So what is ethical hacking? Ethical hacking is a process, okay, of simulation a real attack. For example, if you want to find a vulnerability or you want to see how hackers hack your system, you need to think like one of them. Okay, so yeah, we perform an ethical hacking with a contract, okay, with a legal paper, with a written permission, and we start to see our scope, and we have our engagement letter and all of these stuff, and start to simulate a real hacking activity on these company network, for example. Okay, so you need to be familiar also with instant reporting. Okay, and if you find something malicious happened on your device, okay, you need to call someone from an instant response team, okay, to come and see what happened here, for example. Okay, and yeah, our system will never be 100% secure. So what we do if something wrong happened, okay, we need to identify the vulnerability or identify the weakness, okay, and then start to give it a prioritization and start to mitigate the risk and all of these stuff. So yeah, we need to be familiar with instant what happened if something wrong happened. Sorry, we need to have a plan, right? And yeah, here is a top security breach. You can go and read it. We have a smart a watchmaker German shut down service after ransomware attack, and yeah, that's very bad. Chinese hacker escalate attack against India and Hong Kong in tension. Okay, United States short to Chinese, Iranian hackers, and all of this stuff. Yeah, hacking is gonna be the next weapon for the nation. Okay, so here is a quick tips and countermeasure how to secure your phone, how to secure your PC, your data, your internet, email, social media, and how you follow a security best practice. So simply, if you need to secure a phone, okay, you need to have a lock screen, you need to encrypt your sensitive data, you need to disable your Bluetooth, not connect on any public Wi-Fi, for example, install software from trusted source, and have a right anti-malware installed on your phone. And yeah, on PC, you need to do all of this stuff. You need to have a password, okay, on your screen. You need to have an anti-malware. You need to enable your firewall. Don't install the software from untrusted sources. Okay, you need to apply encryption on data. And yeah, it's very great stuff you can use. Internet, yeah, you need to use um, your internet very careful. Okay, when you open your email, make sure you not open any attachment. Social media use, don't post any sensitive data on social media, for example. How to follow a security best practice? Yeah, you need to, for example, if you want to secure your phone, okay, you can simply Google, okay, mobile device security checklist, and you will have a mini checklist, and yeah, start to follow, okay, this checklist. Yeah, here we're gonna secure your device using a strong password. Yeah, check. We have an anti-malware. Yes. We have incognito mode while we're browsing the internet. Yes. Okay, we have VPN while we're connecting to a public Wi-Fi. Yeah. So you need to be familiar with all of these checklists, for example. So yeah, simply you can PC security, okay, checklist, and you will also have a PC checklist using antivirus, my operating system is updated, my software is updated, and all of this stuff. Yeah, simply you can type something, security, and then checklist, and you will have a great checklist or a good baseline to start with. So, how to realize and report a cybersecurity threat? As I told you, we need to identify as an incident. We need to report this incident based on a good reporting. Okay, and we need to respond how we're gonna mitigate, how we're gonna recover, and all of this stuff. And yeah, that's always done by the instant response people in your organization. Okay, so our last part, we have 20 percentage technical and 80 percentage behavior. So if I give you a gun, okay, in order to protect yourself, so yeah, if you use this gun very well, you can aim, you can shoot, okay, and you have um, a good skill to use this weapon, okay, in this situation, it's gonna be great. So 80 percentage of cybersecurity based on behavior. Yeah, maybe you have the right firewall, maybe you have the right antivirus, okay, but yeah, you can't use it. You leave everything on a default configuration, okay. Maybe you have a misconfiguration and all of this stuff. So yeah, we have 20 percentage technical and we have 80 percentage behavior. So you need to make sure you're familiar with your security control, how you're gonna use the security control, when you're gonna use this security control. And yeah, that's it, our cybersecurity awareness session. And yeah, I don't know if we have a time for question or not,
Yeah,
but
Hesham, thank you very much. If anyone has any questions for Hesham, then please put that in the chat window, and Hesham will then be more than happy to answer to your questions. While while we are waiting for any additional questions, Hesham, during your session there were already a couple of questions, and one of the questions that was keeping people very busy was that people were wondering what kind of operating system you are using.
uh, yeah, I'm using an Ubuntu, okay, with a Numix project theme.
Okay, okay, there
Yeah,
were
it is a Linux operating system based on Debian.
okay, okay. Then a couple of people then had the correct answer to that, because there were, while you were presenting, there was a discussion going on, and some people said a Chrome operating system, some other people said Linux. So the Linux people were right. And I see a question coming in. Um,
Yeah.
um, are Well, two questions actually coming in related to Linux. Um, Brandon is asking, what desktop are you using with Ubuntu?
The theme, I'm using an Numix theme. Okay. Uh,
And Jay Raboui would like to know, what about antivirus for Linux?
Antivirus for Linux, you can go with Asset. I prefer Asset very much. And yeah, Linux have a good security mechanism. If you want to install something, you can use an Ubuntu software from here. And yeah, this market is a very trusted market. Okay, and yeah, you don't need to install a software from untrusted source. For example, uh, Windows have a Windows Store. You can go with Windows Store. You can go with Ubuntu Store. So yeah, feel free to download the software from a trusted source. Okay, if you do this process, okay, you don't need an anti-malware. If you want to use an anti-malware, you can go with Asset. Okay, you can type Asset for Linux. Yeah, I love this guy really.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for sharing that recommendation. Brandon Anderson would also like to know, are you using Linux because of the security benefits?
Using what? Sorry.
Are you using Linux
Yeah,
because of
I'm
the
using
security
Linux. Yeah,
benefits?
yeah, the best thing of Linux here, it have a lot of tools. Okay, you can use while you do your penetration testing or your hacking stuff. Especially we have here in Bash script, and yeah, I have a tool here written by Bash, and it is a Porny again shell scripting language. Okay, that came with a Bash terminal. That allowed me to automate the process of penetration testing. For example, I don't have a good memory. So I have these bash script here that allow me to run all my tool from one place. Okay. So yeah, that's make me comfortable with a Linux distro more than Windows. Even nowadays, Windows have Ubuntu terminal, I think. But yeah, I love this same here, and I love a bash using a Linux.
Okay, thank you very much. More questions actually come in. Um, and apologies if I pronounce the name in the wrong way, but
No, it's okay.
Kuzumajan would like to know, can security software help us can help us protect against viruses?
Yeah, anti-malware, okay, can protect us from the known malicious software. And nowadays, an anti-malware company start to add a lot of features, okay, like and memory analysis, for example. But it's gonna make our operating system very very busy and acting very low. Okay, yeah, it is a very good feature. Okay, but take a lot of resources from our operating system. And yeah, so anti-malware company need to be familiar with the latest threats, the latest updates. And yeah, we have a rapid race here. So yeah, it protect us from known exploit. If a malicious software and this anti-malware doesn't know it is a malicious or not, it's gonna send to the lab, and maybe it's gonna take 2 or 3 days, okay, to detect the real nature of this application.
Hesham, while you were presenting, there was around slide 28, 29, when you were talking about malware. Marius asked a question. Um, how about file-less attacks? Marius feels that file-less attacks seem to become more common lately.
Yeah, they become nowadays is very common, and we have nowadays an anti-malware companies start to focus on these malicious software. And yeah, we have a new module on a ch even, okay, talking about this fileless software. But we're gonna take a lot of time to speak and discuss this process. But you can simply type here fileless malware uh, detection, for example. Okay, and we're gonna see a lot of people here, McAfee and Norton, okay, discuss these software and how we're gonna detect it. So yeah, it is a new era of malicious software.
Okay, thank you very much. Sudhir would like to know, how can we tackle and mitigate ransomware?
Yeah, simply by backup. Okay, you need to have a good backup, and you need to install the software from trusted source. Okay, and do not use a peer-to-peer network.
Okay, thank you. Bob would like to know, could you recommend the next step? As in, can you recommend training courses for people to follow as a next step after this webinar?
Yeah, the very good start, okay, in cybersecurity in general, it's gonna be a certificate from Compatia. It's gonna be a security plus. Yeah, this certificate gonna give you the good ground, okay. You can start and stand on this ground, okay, with confidence, okay. And yeah, later you can choose your track and your path. But yeah, you need to be familiar with all of the security passes and tracks and techniques, okay. And after that, you're gonna start to specialize in one area. So yeah, I recommend to start with Security Plus as a certificate, okay, or simply you can start with a JK Security Fundamental certificate.
Okay, thank you very much. Related to that, Sandeep would like to know, what entry level certification would you recommend for someone who is already in IT but wants to get into cybersecurity? So, what entry level certification would you recommend?
Yeah, interview gonna be a Security Plus, especially if you looking for a penetration testing certificate. He can start with CH or PTS from eLearn Security. Okay, if you he interested in penetration testing and he familiar with a Compatia topic, he can start with Pentest Plus. But yeah, as a good start for anyone in cybersecurity, or anyone in IT, or anyone don't have experience about security in general, yeah, I recommend to start with Security Plus or GK Fundamental Sec Fund.
Okay, thank you very much. Servaz would like to know, how much time would it take for an average hacker to invade my Android cell phone that only has a PIN code? And how much am I at risk if I don't have specific encryption on my data?
Okay, let me show you something here. In Shodan here, we have port 5555, okay? And this is a port of Android debugging bridge. And yeah, this port allows the people to or especially the developer, to gain access to these mobile phone and start to wipe the pin, start to remove the password, maybe dump your contact, maybe install something remotely, maybe uninstall something remotely. So if you know this port, for example, open on your device, and he gets the right IP address, in just 1 second, I can own your phone.
Okay, so that's really quick, Hesham, I think. Um, Sudhir would like to know if somebody knows some TCP port open to access application is I let me read it again. If we
Uh, if somebody knows some TCP port open to access application, it's needed, and a tracker uses port, how we prevent attack with every port. If I'm hacker, okay, and okay, my questions start disappearing.
well, I can read it out again from the chat, Hesham.
Yeah.
So if somebody knows some TCP port open to access application is needed, and attacker use this port, how we prevent the attack with this very specific port?
Yeah, simply, okay, if this port contain a running service, and this service maybe contain a vulnerability, or maybe it is a service contain a backdoor, okay, simply you can open your firewall and start to block this port, okay? Yeah, it's very simple. Yeah, from Windows, okay, you can Windows, okay, firewall. Let me show you a quick here. I don't use Windows, but I know how to do this stuff. So in Windows here, we have outbound traffic and we have incoming traffic. So yeah, I think from this image here, so you can block any inbound traffic, okay, and make sure to block all the inbound traffic here. And from the outbound traffic, you can start to click on this one and go next. And if you know it is port 21, for example, you can type port 21 and you can plug this port. So now if anyone start to exploit any vulnerability in this port, he can succeed.
Okay, let's go to the last questions for today, Hesham. And if anyone has then any questions, then they can send an email to info@globalknowledge.net, and we will also put that email in the email that they are going to receive with a link to the recording and the presentation. Then we can, at a later moment, still send you the questions. So let's go to the last ones. Paul would like to know in general if you can recommend any antivirus or firewall software for various platforms.
Um, I always prefer an asset or Kaspersky. So they are very active in market, have a good security researcher and a very active research and develop team. So yeah, I can choose Asset and Kaspersky, and even nowadays Trend Micro is joins the race. So yeah, you can choose any one of these three.
Jeraboui would like to know how can you detect a slow scan that is done once a week? What kind of tools could be used for that?
Detect the slow scan.
Yes.
Um,
How to detect a slow scan that is done once a week?
I don't get his question very well. So could
Okay,
he rephrase it?
maybe Gerabou, you could rephrase your question maybe so that Hesham could understand in a better way. Um, and like I said, let's go to the last questions. Sandy would like to know: is it worth doing CompTIA SY501, or is it worth doing the CompTIA SY601?
Yeah, the latest version now gonna be 601, so you can start with it.
Okay, thank you very much. Paul would like to know if you have a recommendation for Android operating system.
Android operating system running on the PC or running start to install another Android operating system on his Android phone, for example.
Maybe Paul can get back to that. Daniel would like to know, is it correct that a virus scanner detects 40% of the viruses? So
Yeah,
is awareness much more needed?
yeah, we need awareness. Okay, anti-malware company do a lot of work, but I can make if I'm a programmer, okay, I can make malware right now, and it would be a zero detection if I'm good a programmer, for example.
Okay, and Paul replied antivirus and firewall for Android, if you have recommendations around that.
You can go with Kaspersky on Android. You can go with Asset. They are powerful, and we have McAfee, but I don't know if McAfee these days good or not really. Yeah, we saw a lot of news about John McAfee. Okay, and I don't know if McAfee and malware is stable right now, but it was a great anti-malware for an Android device. So yeah, you can go with McAfee, you can go with Asset, you can go with Kaspersky, and Asset is a very active on Android especially.
Okay, and Hesham, the last question of today. And like I said, if people have any additional questions, then please send an email to info@globalknowledge.net, and we will make sure that Hesham will answer your questions. And the last question, Hesham, is the Windows security in Windows enough to protect someone from malware?
Yeah, it can protect you from malware, but as I told you, you need to have a good security awareness. Okay, yeah, Windows Defender is a very great anti-malware. Okay, with a great success detection rate. So yeah, you can use it, and it is free. Came with Windows, and yeah, you need to be familiar with the links you access, the software you download from untrusted source. Okay.
Thank you very much.